Nick Fuentes. They call him everything: a political prodigy, a digital Hitler, a Fed, a CIA plant, a banned messiah, a grifter, a martyr, a meme, a groiper. Nick Fuentes has been called more names than most people have ever been called ever. But here's the question nobody's really asking is, what if all of them are wrong? Or what if all of them are right at the same time? Buckle up. This isn't going to be a safe ride, but it's going to be a good one. After that, we're going to talk a little bit about who he is and why people are watching this guy. And is it important that we pay very close attention? So stick around all the way to the end. This is going to be a very, very good video. And like, subscribe, hit that notification bell because I just got started and I ain't stopping, baby.
It's not just that I'm telling the truth. It's not just that I'm a good broadcaster. They hate that I have an army. They hate that I have a Revolutionary Guard. They hate that I raise my fist and the groypers go into action. It eats them up. You know, because they got money and they got shows and they got stuff, but I got shooters. That's a metaphor. I got shooters in the streets. Not literal shooters, but I got niggas. I got my niggas and all my niggas got me. Damn! Yeah, I raise my fist and the groypers show up. Because they know I got their back and that's why they have my back and they fucking hate that.
He uses words that are quite disturbing to many. Now, I made this video starting off about this because I want you to see where we are now with this person, with this light shining on him and his unapologetic use of verbiage that today is still looked at as hundreds of years ago, but is used so frequently by so many types of demographics besides mostly whites. And when I say that, I say you've got blacks of all different types of cultures, you've got Hispanics that use it, you've even got white kids in the hood using the N-word. And what I'm wondering, and I wanted to start this debate topic, I am on a neutral basis with this, but I do want to propose the thought, are we moving into a phase of language to a point to where none of that stuff matters? Because you know what I've noticed, using the word retard has become acceptable again. Using certain types of words have become less criticized. And I believe that this is by design. I believe that racism was created. I believe that the media has pushed certain things down our throats. And at the time of 80s, 90s, 70s, whatever, we didn't have access to social media. We didn't have the ability to research the thoughts of other people so we can understand the ideology behind what they're saying. So are we moving into a phase where words like the N-word don't hold as much weight as they used to, not because of it being overused, and that could have something to do with it, but rather because of the fact that, does that even matter anymore? Like, let's be real. When someone like Nick uses the N-word, is he calling a bunch of people slaves and all of the things that that word stands for? Or is he just using it as a replacement for his homies? And I think, like, I can't agree with that. I can't agree with it at all, because if I were to, I would be completely banned and just gone, right? And it's all over a word that's used by thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, every day. So I'm just posing the question that, is it possible that we are moving into a new phase that's acceptable? That's up to you to decide. I personally have no idea, but I wanted to propose the question because when I saw this, it kind of shocked me, but at the same time, it didn't, because I know that he's used the words before. I just didn't realize at what frequency he's using them. And still,
I find it extremely difficult to predict what you will find acceptable.
Maybe the real story here isn't even Nick Fuentes.
Huh?
It's what we live in as a system that created the Nick Fuentes over and over again. And when one burns out, another one takes its place. We've got Malcolm X, we've got Howard Stern, we've got, JFK, we've got, the list goes on. They're trying to make Trump that guy, and even Jesus. So next time you hear his name or any banned figure, don't just ask, do I agree with him? Ask, why am I even hearing this person in the first place? And how did this come to be? And why am I watching it? And what do I think? And why am I thinking it? So Nick started, as many do, in the political internet age. An unassuming kid, he's got a webcam, a stack of opinions, like a lot of us, but he's good at really describing his emotions and thoughts. He probably had absolutely no idea that in a few short years, the FBI would know him by name. The president would know him by name. Elon Musk would be commenting on posts about him. He rode the 2016 Trump hype wave. Most influencers at that time stayed in the warm waters of partisan comfort and the left stranglehold that was on the political aspects of all of the United States. So Nick strapped on a jetpack and flew into the storm. So what did Nick do? He doesn't back down. He strapped on a jetpack and he flies straight into the storm. It's pretty badass, bro. I mean, you got to admit, the guy has got some serious cojones. Young Fuentes on streams, more awkward, but still confident. Commentary on his style, the guy's got college debate club precision with a Twitch streamer chaotic delivery. Early followers pretty much latched on because he says the one thing. He says the many things that people are not wanting to say out loud, or some things that probably shouldn't be. But what is shouldn't be? And we're going to discover the language that's being said, the development of literature and culture combined in the United States, and how his audience wasn't just watching, but participating. And they're not just political spectators. They're in the trenches with Nick. And that's dangerous for everyone. Now, there's a special magic trick in politics that you can triple your audience just by getting banned, all right? So deplatforming is a career accelerant, just so you know. That's really what it is, because people talk about you and they'll remember you for that kid being banned or that guy being banned or what have you. What that explains is how scarcity, drama, and limitations of the access itself creates the demand. So they created the demand, and that is one theoretical avenue that people have taken to say, hey, he's in the CIA. Now, here's the thing. Censorship doesn't kill ideas. It concentrates them, actually. And sometimes it can make the messenger more dangerous than their own message, right? So politics is really like the WWE with bigger egos. And Nick Fuentes qualifies a lot of this drama, especially with Tucker Carlson to Joe Kent. I'd recommend you go to Rumble and view what he said about Joe Kent and Tucker Carlson so you can get a full view of what exactly happened in Nick's eyes, because this is what created some negative emotional display from Tucker to Nick because of the situation with Joe Kent and Nick Fuentes' interruption in what Joe's political campaign was up to. And that's where really the story shifts, because your enemies and your allies starting to look the same, right? So Nick Fuentes isn't just a person anymore. He's become a meme character, now moving into a political proponent. So some people swear he's an undercover Fed. Others think he's the final boss of free speech. The last hurrah, the only one, right? The one, Neo. And the wildest part is that he leans into it. You can tell he loves this publicity, and he amplifies the absurdity of the dramatic parts of this situation. At this point, he could post a picture of his lunch and it'd probably trend as proof of deep state psyop. So memes make political issues digestible, but they also make it kind of unserious. That's where we lose the ability to really know what's real. So where I land is whether you're thinking of Nick Fuentes as a prophet or a parasite or a political potential, leader, you have to admit that the way we react to him says more about it than what it does about him. So why does Gen Z flock to edgy band figures? Why do we trust corporate media to decide who we can hear? Why do we keep making the same mistake of filtering out the noise that they want us to believe is noise? Think about Malcolm X, Howard Stern, even Jesus. This stuff is important. You need to think for yourselves, because if you're not thinking for yourself, you're letting somebody else or something else think for you. So with that being said, I want to know what you think about Nick Fuentes down below. Let me know in the comments. And is he going to be able to run in this political atmosphere with the things that he's done and said?
AP on the beat.
They call me Danks on lock.